Alright, I'm going to make a quick video on when to change transmission oil and when not to. And if you're looking for something exciting, be disappointed because it's pretty much just going to be me talking and staring at this nice close-up of trans oil. So many of you are coming here probably because your car's having problems. Transmission problems, of course. If your car is already having transmission problems, as they say, you're probably too late. That's not the time to really, if your car's having trouble, it's already beyond repair usually. Now, the only hope or saving grace is, it depends on what kind of trouble it's having too. If it's slipping or if it's not going to gear, it's usually two different problems or two different causes. Some people have used this and say that it works. So if your car is slipping and this stuff is really, really thick, it's a lot thicker than regular trans oil. And if you put this in, maybe 1 quart, and then take a quart of the old stuff out, it might help. It might help get rid of the slipping. It might not. If you put it in there, it's gonna make your trans fluid a lot thicker, because the slipping is, your plates and everything have kind of distanced or spread out a little further and eroded away, so that makes it thicker. It closes it, and it might make them work better, it might not. Now, not going into gears, usually your valve body's all gummed up and everything, so if you change it with regular trans fluid, because trans fluid's also a detergent, and if your valve body's gummed up, it might eat away a lot of the detergent, or eat away a lot of the gum and everything, and whatever's build up in your valve body. That might help, it might not. But the main point of this video is the point of when you can start maintenance on the transmission and when you can't. Because if you're looking to buy a brand new car, most people who buy brand new cars don't even keep them that long. But if you want to buy a used car and have it for a long time and not have transmission problems, then you're going to want to change your oil. The sooner the better. So if you buy a used car and it's got 220,000 miles on it, you're already past the point where it's not going to do any good changing it. It's probably going to ruin it. At 220,000 miles, the transmission oil in it is probably already shot, and it's going to be, you put new oil in there, it's going to be thinner, it's not going to have all the metallic wear and stuff in there floating around in it, and then you're going to start slipping if you change it. Now, you buy a used car that's got 80,000 miles and you change it right away, well, then you're good. If you buy, like I said, you buy one that's got 80,000 or maybe even 120,000, 130,000, you change it right away, then your trans was probably already in somewhat decent shape and your oil was in decent shape. And a good thing to do when you check it, unless the person selling it to you has tried not to screw you or trick you, if you check it and the oil is still really red, whenever I check the oil, I'm not talking about checking the level, I'm talking about checking the condition of it. I'll take it off the dipstick and I'll take a something white, like a sock or an old shirt or something, and I'll put that on there, and then I'll pour a little brand new one on there to compare to it. And the closer to red you get, the better condition it's in. The closer to brown or black you get, the worse it's in. Now, reddish brown is average for, a trans that's got 100,000 miles on it, it's never been changed. But if you're getting to really brownish black, then the trans is garbage and the fluid's garbage. And then it's at the point of return. So if you're going to buy one, even before you're checking the level, I would be checking the condition and the color of the fluid, because that'll pretty much tell you, not completely, but it'll give you a good idea how they took care of it. So you're going to buy a 2000 Toyota Camry, and it's got 200,000 miles on it, and you think, well, maybe it's still good. You pull it out, you put it on something white, and, you put the dipstick on something white, the oil comes off, and it's just black. It's as black as night, and I wouldn't buy it. I would walk away from it right then. Now, on the other hand, you pull it out, it's got 220,000 miles. The transmission, the guy said, hey, I change it regularly. Maybe he's lying to you, maybe he's not. But the color is really a nice reddish brown color. Well, maybe he is being honest then. Anyways, there's a lot to know about, when to change it and when not to. And like I tried to stress, if the fluid's already in good condition, if it's that reddish brown color, then you're usually good to change it. If it's black, then that means it's nothing good. Or if it's blackish brown, nothing good. And I wouldn't recommend changing it, because that's probably the only thing keeping it going down the road as it is. And most people, like I said, who are going to be watching this are already having trouble with their trans. So you kind of want to change it before you're having trouble, because once you're having trouble, unfortunately, it's too late. It's already gone. It's a boat anchor. And back to when I was talking about checking the color of it. So if you check, you pull out your dipstick, and then, you see the little bead of oil on there, and you kind of hold it up in the sunlight. It's going to be very deceiving if you look at it on the dipstick. That's why I always say, take something white with you and put it on that, some kind of white cloth or whatever, white wash rag. Put it on that, and then you'll really see the color, because once it's on the dipstick, it's very deceiving. Even blackish brown trans oil will look really red on the dipstick. I don't know why, but it's very deceiving. But you put it on a nice white cloth or whatever, and then you could really tell the color. And especially you pour a little bit of brand new trans fluid on there, and then you know what you want to be and how far away you are. It's almost like a good way to gauge it. Oh, one last thing before I end the video. The best way I can put it is, the worst thing for your transmission is if you live in the city and you're driving in stop and go traffic all the time. It's 100 degrees outside. It's you got your air on, your windows up. It's 100 degrees out. It's gonna destroy your fluid. You're stopping and going. You go 20 feet, you stop. You go 20 feet, you stop. You're in and out of first gear. 20 feet, you stop. 20 feet, you stop. 20 feet, you stop. And your engine temperature's getting up to like 280 or whatever. You got the air conditioning on. That's going to destroy your fluid. It is like one of the worst possible things for it. And then once your fluid gets destroyed, next comes the transmission gets destroyed. If you live out in the country, it's not really as big a deal. You're driving 60 miles an hour, even if it's 100 degrees out, you got all that fresh air blowing into your radiator and trans cooler. It's really keeping the trans cold, and you're changing gears regularly. But if you live in the city, you're going in and out of first gear, you're in a traffic jam, you got the air on, that's what destroys transmissions quick, at least in my opinion. Also, if you're going up in the mountains, if you live in there, whatever temperature it is, you start going at a really, really, really sharp incline up, and your trans fluids coming out of the torque converter and everything falling back. It's not sitting the right way in the pan. It might not be sucking it up properly. That'll also destroy a trans. So these are, I don't know, just things I've noticed about transes over life. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments. I'll try to answer them.